Hello everyone, Steve here. So for today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the Canvas the Canvas hacking that happened over the weekend, and giving my thoughts about it as well. Yeah, giving my thoughts about it and a bit of a conspiracy theory about that too. But that's gonna come into later in the end in the video. But enough of me, enough is the introduction. Let me just get into the yapping. So if you guys haven't, for any of my college, for any of my college viewers or anyone that uses Canvas, and for who uses Canvas, over the weekend of course, Canvas has been was completely shut down due to like being hacked by a hacker group known by the name of Hunters. And well, technically, the hacking first began on May 1st. Of course, was the hackers like essentially were able to get into Canvas, is and gather and able to get into Canvas and essentially able to gather the information of and gather I don't know, a bunch of information of like students, professors, and like staff, and like many people that use Canvas. And at first they pretty much held I think I don't know much, but I think they held like all that information on ransom. What essentially holding a ransom, of course, like demanding the company that owns Canvas to pay them like a certain amount of money, or else they're gonna leak the information, which the company hasn't. Yeah, which the company, which yeah, I think the company was aware, but they haven't made any announcements of it whatsoever. And there was I don't know an investigation of how the hacking group were able to were able to do this. But anyways, the deadline was by May 6th, of course, of that being was the first warning, of course. But since yeah, of course, but I don't think the company listened to the demands or anything. Yeah, listen to any of the demands, which led which led to them to completely shut down Canvas as a whole, of course, leaving millions of students left out, since since many students, of course, were they were working on the finals, oh, yeah, but since many students are heavily reliant on Canvas, of course, for grades, assignments, and conversations, all of that, of course. And being completely shut off from it caused many students to panic, of course. I've already seen a lot of, I've already heard a lot of people's stories or opinions about the Canvas hacking, or that, as well as the shutdown, of course. Some people being glad about it, while others, of course, being more concerned, of course, of what's gonna happen. Of course, that being was since that was the first warning, and then the first and final warning, and essentially said and gave a second warning, that being by May, if they don't comply again, they're gonna straight up leak all the information, that being emails, IDs, social security numbers, and pretty much very sensitive information that should not be out to the public, or anyone should have access to at all. So yeah, but look, yeah, and I was concerned too, of course, about people gonna have both me and many students, of course, are concerned about all this all information being out, of course, for either people to see or to be sell. And then I don't know, people are gonna use that information to do or gonna use that information to to do identity theft. But luckily, actually no, during the recording of this video right now, as for today, Canvas is now back online. However, both me as well as probably other students are very not concerned. What's the word for it? Um, wait, what's the word? Wary. Yeah, I think wary, or not very trust, or not, or they don't really have much trust with Canvas, since if an amateur hacking group, Shiny Hunters, were able to hack into Canvas with ease. We don't know we don't know what would happen if a professional group, of course, hack Canvas instead, and the damage they would probably do. So yeah, and that's what I think pretty much. I don't know, sure, I don't mind I don't mind like Canvas, using it. However, I am now a bit concerned, of course, about about the security of it, of course. But yeah, but what? But yeah, anyways, that's enough about my thoughts about it. But here, I'm gonna be talking about like some conspiracy series, or more specifically, a series that I've come up with. I'm not sure if it's true, of course. Like this is just what I believe. Like don't take every word I say as straight at all. Take like what I'm about to say, cause may take what I say with a grain of salt, pretty much. Anyways, yeah, but essentially yeah. So pretty much during the yeah, when Canvas was shut down, of course, I was kind of wondering, of course, of like why hasn't like the company of Canvas, like, I don't know, they haven't, like, yeah, since like during like the shutdown, of course, the company haven't really made like much statements or like said anything about it so far, I was a bit curious of like why they haven't made any statements, of course, about it, of course, or like or come out about it, which a part of me started thinking about, maybe thinking about that being, what if the company of Canvas and Shiny Hunters were actually secretly like working with one another, or in other words, like they were coming up with some I don't know, some arrangement, of course, behind the scenes, of course, of like that being like that being pretty much like the company allowing Shiny Hunters to like hack into Canvas for whatever reason, of course, while the company, of course, gets something from it, of course, from the hacking, of course. Essentially both parties are essentially benefiting off the will be benefiting off the Canvas hacking, while millions of students are gonna get screwed over. And but that's what I think. But I'm not sure if that's true or not. Like, I don't know. I don't want you guys to actually believe it that is true. Um, but but I am kind of thinking about, maybe it will be a bit true if the company of Canvas, like, I don't know, comes up, I don't know, just randomly like announce that they're gonna implement like an AI, specifically are gonna like take more security measures, that being was like AI. They're gonna like implement like AI to like watch you, to like super to like watch you. If they do that, if they come up with that, of course, then I believe, that my little conspiracy theory may be true. But that's what I think. And yeah, I feel like that's all I have to say for today, for like for the Canvas hacking that happened on the weekend. And there's still some other stuff going on in the world, of course, what I will be talking about, but I'll probably be talking about that either tomorrow or another time. I don't know. So yeah, that's the end of this. Yeah, so this is the end of today's video. So yeah, bye bye.